Welcome to Arise United Devils. In today's news, Manchester United confirm 25-man squad for 2023-24 Premier League season. Manchester United have submitted their official 25-man squad for the Premier League season. After the closure of the summer transfer window, Premier League sides were required to submit an updated 25-man squad list this week, and Ten Hag has now confirmed which players will be available for selection. 5 of the club's newest arrivals, Mason Mount, Andre Onana, Altay Bayindir, Sergio Reguilon and Sofiane Amrabat, have been named in the squad, but Rasmus Højlund has not been included because of his age. Premier League rules state under 21 players don't need to be registered in the squad, which is why Højlund is not on the list. Instead, clubs are asked to submit an unlimited list of under 21 players who will be eligible to play despite not being named in the squad. The rules also outline each squad must contain no more than 17 players who do not fulfill the homegrown player requirement. The Premier League define a homegrown player as an individual who, irrespective of nationality or age, has been registered with a football association club for 3 entire seasons or 36 months, before their 21st birthday. United have named 9 homegrown players in the squad, with new signings Mount and Evans qualifying for that status. The confirmed 25-man squad contain goalkeepers, Onana, Bayindir and Heaton. Defenders, Lindelof, Maguire, Martinez, Malaysia, Reguilon, Varane, Dalit, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka and Evans. Midfielders, Amrabat, Mount, Fernandes, Eriksen, Casemiro, Van de Beek and McTominay. Attackers, Pellistri, Martial, Rashford, Antony and Sancho. The under-21 players who didn't need to be registered are Alejandro Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo, Rasmus Højlund, Hannibal Mejbri, Amad Diallo, Dan Gore, Omari Forson and Shola Shoretire. In other news, Manchester United's Lisandro Martinez worries continue after Argentina decision. Lisandro Martinez was not included in Argentina's matchday squad for their 2026 World Cup qualifier against Bolivia on Tuesday after also sitting out the previous match with Ecuador. The defender has not played since coming off with a foot injury in the second half of Manchester United's 3-1 loss to Arsenal, although he did take part in training while away with his national team. It leaves his availability for United in doubt, with matches against Brighton and Bayern Munich scheduled in the coming days. Raphael Varane is still injured, but Victor Lindelof led Sweden in both of their Euro 2024 qualifiers after recovering from the sickness that forced him off against Arsenal. England's Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans of Northern Ireland came through the international break without concern. Luke Shaw, another potential centre-half option, is currently sidelined. Martinez shared an Instagram post on Monday which showed him walking out for Argentina training with the caption, "Ready for what's coming." Earlier this week, head coach Lionel Scaloni hinted that the defender did not have a significant issue. Scaloni decided not to risk him again in the 3-0 win over Bolivia, though, meaning he has left Martinez out of the squad for both of Argentina's internationals this break. Alejandro Garnacho came on as a late substitute in the final 5 minutes against Bolivia for his 3rd cap, having failed to get off the bench against Ecuador. United face Brighton in the Premier League on Saturday before their Champions League opener with Bayern Munich the following Wednesday amid a lengthy injury list which includes Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount and deadline day signing Sofiane Amrabat. Ten Hag is expected to give updates on those sidelined, as well as the latest on Jadon Sancho amid their public disagreement, in Friday's press conference. In similar vein, Manchester United to lose Andre Onana for up to 9 games in January as Cameroon secured AFCON qualification by beating Burundi. That means the Manchester United boss is likely to be without first-choice keeper Andre Onana for up to 9 games in the new year. His £43.8 million summer signing from Inter Milan announced last month he would return to the international fold for the crucial final qualifier against Burundi. Onana, 27, is now expected to make himself available for the finals in Ivory Coast, which run from January 13 to February 11. And that will be a concern for Ten Hag, as the keeper had quit international football when he was chosen as the man to replace David de Gea. The pair are set to hold talks over Onana's plans in the coming weeks. If he goes to Africa in January, it would leave Ten Hag with only recent £4.3 million signing Turkey international Altay Bayindir and veteran Tom Heaton, 37, to choose from. Onana could miss 4 Premier League games, 2 FA Cup matches, 2 League Cup fixtures and a Champions League knockout game if he decides to continue playing for Cameroon. With Bayindir inexperienced and yet to make his United debut, Ten Hag will hope Onana's decision to return for Cameroon was a one-off and he does not play in the Africa Cup of Nations. Deadline day midfield loan arrival Sofiane Amrabat is also likely to go to the tournament with Morocco, who clinched their place back in March. And 2 other players on United's books, winger Amad Diallo and midfielder Hannibal Mejbri, will be going to the finals with Ivory Coast and Tunisia respectively. With Cameroon now through to the Africa Cup of Nations next January, Ten Hag will want to know if Onana plans to represent his country at the month-long tournament in Ivory Coast. If Onana does intend to represent Cameroon at the tournament, the 27-year-old could miss up to 9 games for United, leaving deadline day signing Altay Bayindir to take his place. In more news, Facundo Pellistri sends message to Manchester United wingers following Mexico training camp. Facundo Pellistri says wingers at Manchester United are expected to be as diligent in defense as they are free in attack. The Uruguayan, who played in both of his country's 2026 World Cup qualifiers during the international break, could be in line for a bigger role in Erik ten Hag's plans with Jadon Sancho's future unclear and Antony unavailable. And with Amad injured, Pellistri, who has 12 senior appearances for United, is the only natural senior right winger available. He decided to undertake a personal training camp in Mexico before joining up with United for preseason. Nowadays, football is, each time, difficult. You can't have holidays, so you have to keep training during any holidays, the 21-year-old told club media. So that's why everyone keeps pushing, because now the seasons are, every time, harder. And if we want to win everything, we have to train that way. It's how it is now. And, of course, we do what we like. We like to play. We want to play lots of games, and if you don't train, you can't do that. Pellistri could make only his second senior start for United against Brighton this weekend ahead of Bayern Munich in the Champions League the following Wednesday. The youngster outlined what is expected of all wingers at the club. He added, "Nowadays, the wingers, they do not have only to attack but they also have to defend. So, before, you would think, okay, I'm a winger. I just attack, but nowadays, you have to defend the same way that you attack. So that's why I had to train in Mexico, because the players need to do all those things in the modern football. So, yes, that's also why we have to defend. You have to do everything, but that's the way it is. And, if you want to win, you have to do it." Asked more about his training in very hot Mexico, Pellistri said, "I had to train quite late because the first day, I tried to train as normal, more or less, 3 o'clock, but it was impossible because of the sun. So I started to train later, like 9 o'clock in the night." On a final note, it has been reported that Manchester United chiefs lead talks to diffuse tension between Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho. Manchester United football director John Murtough is playing a prominent role in talks between Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho in the wake of their public spat. Sancho, 23, lashed out at Ten Hag on social media last week after the Dutchman stated that the winger had been dropped from the matchday squad against Arsenal due to his poor training standards. The England star insisted that Ten Hag's comments were not true, before claiming that he had been made a scapegoat by the Old Trafford chief. Unsurprisingly, Sancho's response did not go down well with Ten Hag, who held talks with the former Borussia Dortmund ace earlier this week. However, Murtough has now become heavily involved as the club seek to diffuse any tension between the duo. According to reports, the situation is far from straightforward, hence Murtough's involvement. Chief Executive Richard Arnold has also been involved in talks and is being kept abreast of developments as all parties seek a resolution to an issue which has plagued United during the international break. It had been speculated earlier this week that Manchester United would attempt to sell Sancho in the January transfer window due to the fact that the winger had failed to take down the pinned social media post hitting out at Ten Hag. That has since been removed, however, indicating that there could be a way back for Sancho, who has struggled to live up to expectations at Old Trafford since joining the club in a £73 million deal back in the summer of 2021. The Athletic revealed earlier this week that Ten Hag's concerns over Sancho's training performances were present well before the damning comments he delivered after the Arsenal game. It is claimed in the report that Ten Hag set Sancho alternative rules in a bid to improve his punctuality, with the winger given a schedule which would often begin at least 1 hour before that of his Old Trafford teammates. While this approach bore fruit initially, the issues which had previously plagued Sancho began to resurface as the season wore on. It was a disappointing campaign for him on the pitch, too, as he only registered 6 goals and 3 appearances in the Premier League. It remains to be seen whether or not the talks which have taken place between Ten Hag and Sancho this week will lead to him being reintegrated into the squad which will face Brighton on Saturday. Fans, would Onana's absence in January be a huge problem? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Till next time, thank you for watching.